Alright, hey guys, so this is part one of this video. This is a two-part collab, so we're going to do the first half of our discussion on this channel, and you're going to go over to her channel and subscribe and watch that video for part two. The link will be in the description. So I'm Megan. If you guys don't know, I'm American and I've been living in Japan for over 2 years, and I found her on TikTok. And if you don't follow me over on TikTok, you should, because I'm a bit more silly there. Anyways, I found her and I slid into her DMs over on Instagram. I said, let's collab, and she was like, okay, and so here we are.
Hi, I'm Bella. I lived in Japan 3 years ago on a high school foreign exchange for a year. I was supposed to be back this year, but the coronavirus prevented me from doing so. I am a TikToker and now YouTuber who talks about my experiences of living abroad in Japan and other things as well. So if you want to follow me on TikTok and subscribe to me here, I would greatly appreciate it.
So I felt really inspired by your storytelling over on TikTok because you're just very brutally honest about your life experiences in Japan.
Weird things in my strict Japanese high school that did not make sense, part 5.
And I feel like a lot of people who share their experiences living abroad aren't very honest, and you feel tricked when you get there, and I don't like that. So I wanted to add some of your flavor to my channel too. So this might offend some sensitive souls, but this is just our opinions and our personal experiences, so don't take it too hard.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be based off of our opinions and personal experiences. I do get hate, but I wanted to be that person who talked about the realities of living abroad as a foreigner in Japan. I learned so much living in Japan that not a lot of YouTubers who talked about Japan talk about. I wanted to share those experiences with others before someone made a life decision about moving to Japan.
Okay, so let's get to it. America versus Japan. We're gonna give points for whichever country wins that topic, and then we'll add it up at the end to see which country is just better fit for both of us, and maybe a better fit for you. So our first topic is food. Everybody needs it and everybody eats it. So in my humble opinion, I'm gonna give it to America. I know, right? It's just a strange thing to give to America, which is like the capital of obesity and pretty unhealthy options. And whereas Japan has one of the longest lifespans and pretty healthy options. But here's my reasoning. I like variety. Every day of the week, I want something different in my mouth. That sounds bad. Okay, I want different tastes. No, that's still bad. I'm gonna put this in anyways. I should cut it out. No, I'll just leave it. So anyways, yeah, I like different countries' foods, and if you are someone who likes to cook like me, I care a lot about what the grocery stores offer. And unfortunately in Japan, if you want to grocery shop, it's going to be quite expensive, especially if you want to eat healthy, which is fruits and vegetables. And it's harder to find organic foods and just a variety of ingredients to make all sorts of things. And whereas America, you can just go to Whole Foods and it's all there. So yeah, that's why I'm giving it to America. What do you think, Bella?
So I do have to give it to America for the reasons that you stated. Now when it comes to eating organically and when it comes to eating organically in America, you have so much better variety than in Japan. Because in Japan, they have a lot of packaged foods, very convenient food. Because keep in mind, Japan likes convenience. Fried chicken or, onigiris, a lot of things Japanese like to have food that are grab and go.
So yeah, and one more note about food. Obviously, I'm just gonna dispel any sort of question you might have in your mind, but yeah, American Japanese food is not realistic to real Japanese food. The closest you can get to real Japanese food is probably gonna be in California in some actually Japanese owned restaurant. And what you can eat that's the most similar to real Japanese food would probably be sashimi at a sushi restaurant and miso soup. But other than that, all that teriyaki chicken nonsense, that is not realistic.
The next topic is going to be work life, and as many of you guys know, Japanese work life is very strict, so I do have to give this to America. When I lived abroad in Japan, my host dad would not come home till 9, 10 o'clock at night. The reason why he didn't get home till 9 or 10 at night is because his boss didn't leave or his seniors didn't leave. For those of you who do not know, Japan actually kind of released some labor laws that kind of permits Japanese from overworking. Now, in some cases it's helped, but most Japanese traditional companies still follows kind of these strict procedures. Another thing is in America, if you're done with work, most of the time you can leave, your bosses won't care, but I feel like that's kind of not the scenario in Japan. What are your thoughts, Megan?
That one's actually a tough one for me because I think both suck for different reasons. For me, yeah, America is a little bit more easygoing, but at the same time, they're extremely competitive. Like, one of the reasons why I didn't want to keep working in America is because it's very difficult to climb that ladder at work. So if you want to get promoted to a manager position, usually they hire someone from outside the company who has management experience in some other field that's not even related, versus someone who's been working for the company for years that knows everything about it. It's really a weird culture there where it's like they just want to hire someone with a master's degree in business and they have like 6 years experience in the relevant like management position instead of promoting someone. Whereas Japanese culture, like with companies, they tend to promote within the company, which is great. But yeah, like you pointed out, there are a lot of negatives like the overworking and yeah, staying until everyone leaves for some reason. Like at 5 o'clock, I'm out. But I guess this doesn't really apply to me because I'm a freelancer, and if I had to give it to someone, I'm gonna give it to Europe, you know? I'm just gonna say Europe wins with work-life culture, and Japan and America both suck. But yeah, so I guess by default, this means America wins because you gave them a point.
Well, I do have to add in that I agree with the corporate ladder. It is definitely difficult to climb that ladder, especially when you've been working there for so long and they hire somebody that you don't even know and you feel like you're, qualified for that position, but they give it to somebody who has no idea what the company even is, So I do have to agree with you on that part.
Yeah, usually just some middle-aged white man. Unfortunately, that's how it is in America. They just give it to, that's your manager. Why can't it be someone else?
Yeah, I agree.
Next one is going to be medical care. And, well, as some of you might know or remember, I used to be a nurse, so I have a lot of opinions about this. And from my experiences in both countries, being in the hospital, having different medical problems myself, I can tell you a lot about it, and I have a lot of opinions. I'm going to give it to America, even though I hate the insurance system. We're not talking about insurance, we're talking about the medical care, I think, because I just do think America is most up to date with research and a lot of different medical studies, whereas Japan seems to be a little bit behind with their teaching and protocols. A classic example, I made a whole video about 5 types of doctors in Japan. You guys can go check it out. I'll put it in the description on my video, but yeah, it's a hodgepodge of experience, and some of it was good and some of it was terrible. I've had terrible experiences at the doctor in America as well, but all in all, I feel like they're going to keep trying to find a solution to my problem because it makes them more money. Whereas in Japan, I felt like they just gave up and I couldn't get the help that I wanted because they had this set in their mind that we've tried everything, so I guess that's it for you, you're gonna die. That's how I felt. Anyways, but yeah, what do you think?
So as many of you guys know, I was hit in Japan, so I do have some experience in this field, especially since I was getting a little sick in Japan as well. I've been to the doctor numerous times. And I do have to give it to America as well. I do think that their prices are outrageous, and in Japan, it is super cheap. My whole getting hit by a car in Japan, that probably the ambulance ride, the hospital bills, the x-ray bills was $160, which would have been over probably 15 grand in America, especially since I rode in the ambulance. Oh my gosh, I know, right? Yeah, it was a crazy experience. I'm glad I kind of went through it. Not glad that I got hit by a car, but I was glad that I kind of got to experience it because it kind of opened my eyes to the medical life in Japan. Now in Japan, they give you a lot of medications, and I was really shocked when they gave me Chinese herbal medicine, and they gave me a bunch of medicine, and then they didn't tell me to rest or anything else. They said, you can go back to school the next day. And I was shocked. Because in America, they're well, if you're sick, you need to rest. In Japan, in Japan, it's very different because they're well, here you go, here's all this medicine, you'll be fine, just go back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, like on that note, I was given Chinese medicine as well to cure my bladder infection, which definitely doesn't work. I need some antibiotics, please. But yeah, after 5 doctors, I finally got a female doctor. And let me tell you, this female doctor, this Japanese female doctor has been the best doctor, one of the best doctors I've ever had. Because you know how it's hard to get antibiotics usually? You know what she did? I went to her because I was like, yeah, I had another UTI and subsequently the antibiotics gave me yeast infection. Can I have some yeast infection medicine? And she was like, yeah, here's some yeast infection medicine. Wow. And she's like, oh, I know you have this chronic problem. How about I give you like 3 doses of antibiotics for next time so you don't have to go to the doctor. I was like, oh my god, you are amazing, because I've just stopped asking doctors because they'll never give me like premeditative medicine for this. I mean, I used to have one good doctor in America that gave me like a set of antibiotics, but they're so stingy. They're like, we don't want to give you antibiotics because you're going to abuse them. I'm like, I was a nurse. How am I going to abuse antibiotics? Like, I know what I'm doing. And this woman was just suggested it. I'm like, you were a genius and you were the kindest doctor I've ever met. And you're like logical and you have common sense. Thank you. Yeah, so she's the one. Yeah.
We need more doctors like that in Japan, seriously. Especially when you're a foreigner in Japan.
I have to say, go to female doctors because I just think they try harder because they want to like overcome that stigma that only men are doctors here. So I feel like they're just a lot more caring and they're less about money and family status and more about actually helping people.
I definitely will have a female doctor when I go back to Japan. Our next topic is fashion and makeup, and as many of you guys probably already know, I'm going to give this to Japan. Now, Japan has a very unique sense of fashion, especially if you've already kind of known the J fashion or Harajuku fashion. You pretty much know how unique their fashion is. Now, when it comes to makeup too, I've noticed that their makeup in Japan is a lot more advanced than over here in America. And while Japanese don't wear as much heavy makeup as we do over in America, I still think that a lot of their makeup products are genuine, really good products. And the only thing that I don't like about Japanese fashion is that for me, it doesn't really flatter my body. I definitely fit more Korean fashion than I do Japanese fashion. But I just feel like they have such a unique sense of style and such amazing makeup products that I do have to give that to Japan. What do you think, Megan?
Yes, so definitely a lot of people just do dress up a lot more in this country, and even guys and girls both make an effort with their fashion. You won't see people just wearing too many like lazy fashion styles like what you see in America, which is like a big baggy oversized t-shirt and some jeans. And I feel like the makeup quality in Japan is better. Like in America, whenever I used American makeup, I would constantly have like skin irritation, redness, and acne, and it was very drying as well. I just always had skin problems, and then when I started using Asian makeup, specifically Korean or Japanese makeup, all of those problems went away. So I definitely think the formula in East Asia is like superior to what America's makeup formula is. And I do know that they tend to try to use less chemicals when it comes to composing those things because they do have like a less is more sort of motto about things. So yeah, but in terms of fashion, I do think it's a little difficult, especially if you're tall, to find clothes that flatter you here. I think the reason why it's hard to find flattering clothes is they have like a one-size-fits-all mentality. I mean, they have like small, medium, and large, and to be honest, like everyone thinks like America's small to Japanese small is like not comparable. It is comparable, like that their small is America's small, but it's just fits differently because they fit them for like shorter people. I like Japanese fashion. I wear it. You see my other videos, I wear it a lot. But to be honest, I tend to lean more towards Korean fashion, which is like what I'm wearing today.
I totally agree, especially since I have acne as well. Most of you guys probably have seen my acne on my videos. I definitely have acne, so when I use Japanese makeup, it definitely helped my acne, and I feel like it's a lot lighter on your skin. So I definitely have to agree with you on that. Another thing when it comes to fashion is a lot of times girls do not show their cleavage or kind of wear like short, like really short shorts. So just keep that in mind when it comes to fashion in Japan. But another thing is too, a lot of girls in Japan actually dress up. So they always wear like dresses or skirts or long flowy, you know, jeans kind of. I have some pictures of like my flowy jeans that I got in Japan. But that is kind of like the norm in Japan. So when you're like me and you wear just a short and t-shirt, you get a lot of stares because the girls are like, what are you wearing? And so I finally ended up having to kind of switch my fashion a little bit just because I kind of wanted to fit in a little more and, you know, kind of felt pretty.
Okay, so our next topic is friendship vibes. So I've kind of given up on making friends in my aging process, but you know, I have met some cool people, especially at like work and stuff. I do think friendship vibes here can be pretty good, especially if they're interested in, you know, the language exchange part of it. I haven't had a lot of experience with close friends here, but I did have a lot of negative experiences with friends in America. So if I have to compare the two, I had worse experiences with people in America, like, you know, backstabbing, lying, disloyalty, like ancestral friend groups that all date each other and it's a whole hot mess and a drama and disgusting, and so-and-so took so-and-so's boyfriend. So it's not that much. I don't think that happens that much in Japan. Maybe a little bit, but not that much. Not to the degree that you experience drama in America. So I'm gonna give it to Japan for friendship vibes.
So when it comes to friendship vibes, I do have to give it to Japan as well, because most of you guys know I was kind of bullied in America for liking Japan, liking anime, all that stuff. I was definitely treated like I was different or like that weird kid, you know. You guys probably already know that story. I kind of talk about it on my TikTok sometimes. So in Japan, it is very easy to make friends to an extent. Japanese people are very to themselves. They don't really like to talk about their private lives too much. So it is sometimes hard to have a deep conversation with a Japanese person just because they don't want to inconvenience other people. That is kind of how they are. But especially if you don't speak Japanese, it is a lot difficult to kind of make those close friends. Now, I made friends in Japan, but since I didn't really speak too much Japanese till the end, I didn't really get to make too many friends. So yeah, and I totally agree with you, Megan, on the fact in America how you had like the backstabbing, the lying. I feel like it is less drama oriented in Japan than it is in America. Now we're going to talk about music, movies, and TV shows. Now I do have to give this to America just because in Japan they play a lot of American music. They don't really play too much Japanese music. When you go to Japan and you're like in stores, you kind of notice that American music is always playing. Especially when I was there, Despacito was very, very popular. Everywhere I went, Despacito played. Obviously, that was like the #1 hit, I think, in America. So even though it was #1 in America, it was still like #1 in Japan. And honestly, when it comes to movies, I think American movies are definitely a lot more popular. But the only downside about living in Japan when it comes to those movies is you do have to wait 6 months for a popular movie in America to make its way over to Japan. And then TV shows, of course, just, you know, America is superior. Japanese people tend to know more American TV shows than Japanese TV shows anyways.
I'm gonna agree with you. America's gonna win this one. So in terms of music, again, it's like my preferences with food. I like a lot of variety. I feel like Japanese music doesn't have that much variety. Like, they stick with what they feel is like a popular tune, and also I think that they could have more international presence, but their marketing style is so old-fashioned that they just can't spread like Japanese music, because some old people run the company and they decided that like they're going to only make like the CD released on like a disc, and you can only buy the disc and you can't buy an MP3. Like, they're very secretive about this. They don't want to put it on YouTube or don't want to spread it, and I think that's a missed opportunity. They definitely play, like you said, a lot of American music and K-pop mostly in the stores. And so I haven't really had much of a chance to listen to a lot of Japanese music, to be honest. In terms of movies, I think Japanese horror movies are really scary, and I do think those horror movies are better usually than American. But in terms of everything else, I think they have a lack of budget. So if you want like a high budget, high quality film, of course that's going to be Hollywood. And for TV shows, yeah, America's gonna win just because they come out with some pretty powerful series like, you know, Walking Dead and like Breaking Bad, and these are all TV shows that are extremely popular in Japan as well because they did so well worldwide. But I think we're missing the most important like topic out of this. Anime wins. So when it comes to animation, it's not just for kids, you know, it's really good. So anime is like, I don't know, somehow they took all of their lacking of budget and skill for like TV shows and they funneled it into anime, and it is so good. So okay, so we're going to talk about language. And the only reason why I want to talk about language is because I think a lot of Americans tend to have this feeling that English is superior for some reason, and like everyone should speak English when they go to America. But I just want to like open your mind a little bit to the idea that other languages are good too. So even though English is like the most widely spoken language in the world, and that's mostly due to politics, military control, and the spread of democracy, Japanese is a pretty cool language. I think if you just listen to the noises and the sounds and, you know, the way people express themselves, Americans talk so loud and it is so annoying. It's like cheese graters on my eardrums when I'm in the train and I hear Americans talking and I'm like, shut up, stop talking. Like, yeah. But Japanese language is very quiet and mild and easy on my ears.
Yeah, I have to agree with giving Japan the language, and I know that it's weird because English is the most spoken language, but when it comes to Japan, Japanese is going to be the most spoken language, and I think a lot of foreigners are shocked. Even when I lived in Osaka, which is a really, I think it's like the third biggest city, the second biggest city, even when I lived in Osaka, a lot of Japanese people didn't speak English, so I was mostly having to speak Japanese the whole time. And actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Japan was to learn the language as well.
Okay, so that is halfway through our talking points. I know this video might be a little bit long, but it is informative, is it not? Okay, give us a thumbs up if it is informative. So go ahead and go over to her channel to check out part 2. Or if you're coming over from her channel to see part 1, I thank you so much for watching. Okay, thank you, bye.